Alright, so this video is going to just show you guys, the disassembly of the front fork. I'm not going to take it off this bike, but this is a 72 hydraulic fork. Has the beauty cap, metal, fork ears. But the first step before tackling anything, because I don't have everything always memorized, is I go and print out my exploded parts diagram, just to help guide my breakdown process. We're looking at right here a 72 fork, and I just highlighted kind of the two differences because this is going to cover, the fork I'm taking apart is from a 1978, but they're very similar, just the this part is different essentially, and a couple little components that add to the aesthetics of it. Alright, so I just highlighted, this is from a 72, it's basically exploded. They follow this diagram and it shows you all the parts as you dig further and further into the breakdown. 72 versus a 78 fork, and you can see kind of just the real only minor differences between them. So this should help cover both, this takedown of these hydraulic forks. And then, you got your rubber there, and then just a little bit different on the lower of the fork leg, the rubber boot versus the metal. Alright, so fork's already off. This is already pre-broken down. First step you want to do is take your top bolt off, and after you are able to remove this fork and triple tree assembly from the front end of your bike, take your bolts at the very top and just put a towel on the ground, or I use a towel, a throwaway towel, tip it upside down and let all your fork oil roll out onto the towel. Let it sit there for about 10 minutes and let it all just roll out, because you're going to want to drip out, and you're going to want to change this at the end of the fork rebuild assembly. So once that's done, you can put your bolt back in. Everything should slide over the bolt, so seal off your oil so you don't make a mess. On this fork, you can take your fork ears off, so these will just slide right off the top of the fork. And then on the back side of these triple trees, you have a nut, usually I think it's a 12 millimeter, can't remember off the top of my head. You want to release that bolt, and then it will allow you, that's a friction grab on the stanchion, so you want to be able to take that bolt out and slide it up. I've had it many times where this stuff just gets rusted, and I use a PB blaster, which is like a solvent to help lubricate and eat away on the old rust. I have a rubber dead blow hammer that I have used before, and I've had to hit this triple tree to make it budge and move off. So if you have that problem, it's going to be a little bit of work to get this triple tree loose, but it will come off eventually. So once you get the triple tree removed from your fork, I'm going to put this down for 1 second. Once you get your triple tree removed, we'll just work on the fork independently. Sorry guys, I got to do this video by myself here. The difference also, when you have a 72 style fork, this has to come off with the triple tree. You can't get this part off unless you take the triple tree off. So that's part of the problem that you may have figured out trying to get this thing taken apart. So this triple tree will come off, and then you can pull this off. So next is your spring. It should be free. You can basically just take that off. Okay, that leaves you with your fork. And then right down in here, you're going to have a snap ring, which you're going to need a special tool for that. This one is something I got at the auto parts store a long time ago. This one is OEM brand 25356, and it will let you get that snap ring and separate it. and that's what you'll find on top of this fork bushing is a snap ring down in there, down inside of here. So your snap ring will be next. You're going to be able to reach in there with this tool. You can slide in there and then release your snap ring, and you're going to pull that all the way up off the fork. And how this tool works is you put it in the two little holes you see. You will grab it and separate it. So you need that tool. Once you get that tool out, it's going to be just the bushing in there. And at this point, you're probably going to need 2 people, and it's going to be a tug-of-war game. So once you get that snap ring in, there's nothing holding that bushing in except for you yanking on the stanchion of the fork and pulling it out from the lower end. So you'll have one buddy hold this part, or if you're lucky, it might come out with one person, but I usually use 2 people to do it. One person hold this part, and you pull from this end, and once you give it a few good tugs, you'll give it a bunch of tugs, and it's going to start knocking that bushing up, and eventually it will come out, and you've got your stanchion free. There is a couple more parts down here in the picture that will come out with the fork, and that's this metal collar that's sitting down inside of here. That's going to come up, and essentially that's it. It's not hard to do this. It's just a matter of getting the, most people don't know there's a little snap ring down there, so that's the most important part. Once you get all the way down into the lower end, is getting that snap ring out and giving it some good tugs, and it will eventually come out. So when you finally get your fork seal replaced, put in there, and you're rebuilding the fork, so some of the fork oil I recommend, it's Maxima fork oil. It's done by weight, so I think 15 weight is a good weight for these forks. You'll see a major improvement over how soft they originally are. So it's just a matter of kind of playing around with a little bit of concoction and volume of fork oil to get you to where you want with your forks, and you'll make sure that you put the same amount and same viscosity into both forks for them to have an even feel. So that's about it. And also the important thing is get your parts diagram. That's your rule book there. So, if I have any other things if there's anything else that I didn't cover, just put some comments in below the video, and I will write up, or if I can do a quick video on something else, let me know. All right, guys, thanks.